Welcome to our webinar on mobile tech from Key2Act. Our agenda today is going to be a quick look at field service and overview, and then a deeper dive and review of the Key2Act service board for scheduling technicians, and looking at the mobile applications under their mobile tech banner. We'll jump into some great demos and look at the tools on various devices. So a quick intro and reintro to Endeavour Solutions. We've been around for 27 years now, 3 lines of business being advisory services, implementations and upgrades for Dynamics GP, my Dynamics 365 CRM, and all of the cloud products including Office 365 and Azure. We now have over 450 active clients across Canada and parts of the US and continue to help them with their optimization and support. We have a number of offices across Canada. Our head office is in Toronto, Ontario, and a large office in Halifax, as well as remote offices in London, Edmonton, Montreal, and Ottawa. So, goals of field service. There's functional goals and operational goals. Functional goals are really helping you create the systems and processes to manage the day-to-day field service aspects of your business, whether that be depots or working with remote workers. Ultimately, we want to provide the remote workers with access to customer information, provide the scheduling and tools to make sure they're in the right spot at the right time, and track and create a variety of history, task management, invoicing on their mobile devices, as well as be able to report that from a KPI perspective internally. Leads into our operational goals. On the right-hand side, what we've heard from clients is they're looking for efficiencies. They're looking for flexibility and be able to handle what-ifs as they're responding to customer needs, changing needs, as well as competitive pressures. Ultimately, if you can get more calls per day, higher levels of first call resolution, better quality of service, then you can really differentiate yourself as a service provider for your customers. Results in fewer errors and less physical paper is often one of the tangible components, but those are less strategic than how do you delight your customers and create that customer experience. So with that in mind, I want to pass it over to members of our Ketoact team as a authorized partner of Endeavour, and we have Diane and Michael on the line.
Good morning, everybody. Before I turn it over to Michael to actually show you the scheduling and mobile applications, I just wanted to quickly give you an overview of who we are. We were originally founded in 1995 by a group of a mechanical contracting company under the name of Wennsoft. We rebranded to Key2Act several years ago, so you might know us as Wennsoft, you might have heard of us as Key2Act, same company. We have a regional headquarters in Wisconsin, second one in North Dakota, but we have consultants all throughout North America. We're built specifically to work on Microsoft Dynamics GP, so that's the financial basis for everything that we do in our operational software. We have over 800 plus customers, and on the mobile side, we have over about 9,000 mobile tech licensed users at this point in time, so it's a pretty robust application and big part of our business. So what you're going to see today is our graphical schedule board, and Michael will be showing you the demo of this. You can see appointment statuses. You can use drag and drop technology to assign appointments to individuals. And we also have color coding that he'll show you that'll indicate the status of the appointments for you. From a mobile tech perspective, we work on a number of different devices, pretty much anything that you can hold in your hand or that's a tablet. And the mobile application is designed to facilitate both service, job, and equipment information. It also enables you to do time and expense entry from the mobile devices. You can use tasks that have required fields and responses. You can attach files to various fields within mobile tech. You can also capture additional work opportunities. So if a technician is out in the field and they see some additional work that could be done, you get that additional work. You can do invoicing, payments in the field. You can consume inventory, so if a technician is taking inventory off of their truck for a service ticket, that can flow all the way to the back office. And finally, you can get a signature capture from the customer acknowledging that the work has been completed. So at this point, the demo.
All right. So thank you very much, Scott and Diane. So today we'll be looking at our graphical schedule board and our MobileTech solution primarily for dispatching and working on our service tickets. Our graphical schedule board really empowers your dispatchers to view the schedule and availability of all technicians. And as Diane mentioned, it can be color-coded for each individual user. So the example I'm showing here, each user is going to be able to change this to whatever's going to best suit them. On the left-hand side, we can view all of the unassigned appointments, which we still need to schedule for technicians. Now, in order to find the best technician, we do have a number of technician filters built in. So whether it be based on a certain skill level or certification, maybe a service area within a bigger city, we can filter the list of technicians that are available to complete a service call based on a number of different criteria. So again, on the left-hand side here, we can view all of those unassigned appointments, and it is a drag and drop technology. So in order to schedule one of these appointments, we can just drag it onto a technician's board and is thereby dispatched to that technician. When I hover over this one, we can actually see that this one is now in a status of dispatched, which will be available on the technician's mobile device once they have synced up. From here, I will go to our mobile solution, so kind of putting on my technician hat and viewing a service ticket as a technician will be able to view it from the field. So as was previously mentioned, this is available for Android, iOS, as well as Windows Phone and Windows laptops or tablets. So it's available pretty much across every kind of device that you can imagine. The view that we'll be looking at today is similar to what it would look like on a tablet view. Phone view may look a little bit different based on just real estate for that device. So now that this call has been dispatched and I've received that in the field as a technician, the first thing I'm usually going to do is view my calendar for that day or for the week to view all of those service calls that I do have to complete. So this calendar view will show me all of my service call appointments as well as any technician activities that I may have entered, such as PTO days, jury duty, anything like that. And these will be immediately available on the graphical schedule board as well, so our dispatchers know when to not schedule our technicians based on that availability. Our appointments tab will list all of the appointments currently assigned to that technician. So it can be a combination of job appointments, service appointments, as well as those technician activities that we viewed on the calendar view. We do have filters available within here for the technicians to be able to view just those really important appointments and look at the other ones later if we need to. Also from this view, our technicians are given the options to do time in, time out to complete that appointment, or the option of more where we can actually add additional notes, attachments to that individual appointment on the service call. So the complete appointment we'll be looking at a little bit later, but this will open up some additional options such as adding resolution notes, any inventory that may be used or that we want to assign to a service call, or even create a purchase order request for parts that we don't have with us. On the service call tab, the technician really selects the service call they wish to review. So two buttons will become available when selecting an individual service call here. The first is the new appointment window, which will allow us to create a new appointment on the same service call. So this is really useful if maybe we don't have the parts with us and need to go back another day, or possibly if we don't have the skill set required to complete this appointment and I would like to reassign another technician to that appointment. So the More tab will provide us with additional details about that service call, such as the call type and problem type for that specific appointment. Okay, so from here we'll begin the process of actually doing some work on this call and completing it from the field. Some of the items we can view while looking at the service call are the equipment actually assigned to this particular work order. Our equipment tab will provide us with a lot of information such as the model number, serial number, who it was installed by, as well as any warranty information. We can also do meter readings based on this equipment. So if we're looking at maybe mileage or hours for that equipment, we can add them right from here. Some of the additional options we can have is viewing the history for that particular piece of equipment, as well as viewing that on a map view so we can see exactly where that piece of equipment is located. Now, oftentimes the piece of equipment that the person calls in with is not always accurate, or they don't know which piece of equipment is actually faulty. So we do have the ability to view all of the equipment that we have on record for that particular customer location, as well as the ability to barcode that information. And this can be done from the field on the fly. If we haven't set up barcoding already, we can scan that barcode for the piece of equipment while we're out in the field and assign that number, so the next time a technician goes out there, they'll be able to quickly access that piece of equipment. So now that I've done maybe some work on this particular service call, I've recorded my labor, timed in, timeout for that, we can go through the process of actually completing that call and assigning any additional inventory that we may have to assign for that. So I'll go into my Complete tab here, and we'll see a few more menu options pop up. The first is going to be our Resolution tab. So the call resolution here is set up in the back office as a predetermined list of common resolution codes that you may use, and these are really useful for reporting purposes or even revenue purposes to see where the majority of your revenue or costs are coming from based on the resolution codes. So I can enter any resolution I want to. In addition to that call resolution code, I can type in any additional notes. I can do a talk to text if your device does support it, or we have what are called snippets available to enter that information for me. So really things that are set up in the back office that you're going to be using on a regular basis. Really trying to save time for the technicians here from having to type everything in. Now, if we do have more than one appointment on this service call, that next appointment will be able to view any of those resolution notes or codes in the resolution history shown right below that. Okay. So our labor entry tab here will allow us to edit or add any new labor entries. You know, if we forgot to time in, time out for this particular call, or we have the ability to add maybe a work crew. So if I'm a crew chief and I have some people working with me, I can select any of those crew members and add time for them as well. Also available within the Complete tab is our list of tasks. So we can build in tasks to any piece of equipment or service call for the technicians to complete. All of these can also have task responses. So if we're checking something like a meter reading or temperature gauge, we can have them input that information, which can also trigger some preventative maintenance calls to automatically be created. But these will also be permanently attached to that piece of equipment for any historical reporting or to help the next technician that services this particular piece of equipment. From here, we can also assign inventory that we may use on this particular service call. by clicking the plus button right up here. This will be a direct connection to the GP database to view all of the equipment that I do have for a particular purchasing site location. So in this case, I have my own truck that I'm carrying inventory on, this truck 7. You can view right here. So I can pull any inventory off of that and assign that to the call. Now sometimes the site inventory, we don't necessarily have an inventory item, so we can mark that as a non-inventory piece and maybe do duct tape or packing material and add that to the service call as well. And that will be a billable item on that service call. Some of the other options that we do have is to be able to create a PO, and this will create a PO request within GP for maybe parts that I did not have on my truck or originally needed for this particular service call. If I select the more here, I can view the line items that I put in for this particular work order line item. Now this will generate a queue for the purchasing department within GP to actually complete that purchase order. So the technicians aren't actually going to be ordering anything from the vendors. We'll still allow the purchasing department to make any corrections that may be needed, maybe pricing or who the supplied vendor should be. Okay. So finally, before we actually complete this service call, all of the labor, inventory, materials, anything like that that I use will be available in a summary report. The view that I'm looking at here would typically be what you would hand to a customer before actually signing off on the completion of that work order. So they'll be able to view any of the tasks that were completed, what that resolution was, maybe any labor that was entered if we had to create a purchase order for that. Now upon completion of this call, it will actually send all of this summary information back to GP and create an SRS report, which can then be emailed, printed to your boss maybe, and it will be automatically attached to the service call. So the view here is really meant for in the field for the customer to be able to review that information, but they can still receive a report with all this information printed in an SRS. So now that we've reviewed all that summary information, I'm the customer and I decide, yes, you were there for that amount of hours, we purchased these materials, we can go ahead and collect some signatures from that customer. So this will open up a couple tabs for signature. The first one will be to collect the technician's signature, and my name will be filled in based on who is logging in to that mobile device. The second piece will be actually collecting the customer's signature. So the only field that is required here is our name field, that we want to actually be able to capture that customer's name because signatures often aren't legible for ugly signatures like mine. So we're going to store that name in the database, and that will be attached to that call summary report as well. So if there are any discrepancies when we go to the billing or invoice process, we can view that the customer had signed off on the work that was done. So then finally, we can proceed with completing this call. If we did have any tasks that have not completed yet, we can go and view those additional tasks and move through them and complete them as needed, add any task responses if we need to, but we can also complete the appointment if all of these tasks have not been completed. So very useful if we're going to create a second appointment or send somebody else out there the following day, maybe I couldn't complete this inspection of controls in this case, or checking the housing. So we can leave those uncompleted and have the next technician or myself, if I'm going out there the next day, to complete those additional tasks. So in completing the appointment, I will add any email addresses that I want to add for that call summary report. So by default, it will be emailed to myself as the technician, but I can also add maybe my boss, or if the customer wants to receive this right away, I can add any additional email addresses within here and have that automatically sent. If we do have a contact list, maybe you always want to send it to your boss, we can create a contact list within here and just drop that information in to be able to send it to them in that format. So before I complete this call, I did want to point out one additional item that we have available, and this is one of our new features that Diane will touch on as we wrap up this part of the demo, and that is our 2C product. So we utilize some technology here where you can actually put on glasses to record video, to take pictures, or even communicate with a member in the back office to help you complete this service appointment. So what this will do is create a URL within that call summary report for them to be able to click on and view any of those pictures or videos in the cloud. So the big advantage of this too is it won't be saved to your database, but by being saved in the cloud, we can actually create a URL for the customer to be able to view any of those fixes that were made as well. So looking at my call resolution here, I can actually see that hyperlink that was created, and I'll open that up in a browser just to show you what it will look like from a customer's point of view to be able to see those pictures and or videos that were created. And this is just a picture of the top of my desk, so now you know a little bit about me. I'm a big Star Wars nerd, but these will be attached to that service call for the customers to be able to view. So now I'll go to complete this appointment. And again, that call summary report will be attached to the service call as well as emailed to myself as the technician. Before we actually leave that worksite, we do have some additional opportunities in here to create additional work. So if you're out at a customer site and you're fixing maybe a window on the front of the office and they say, well, we have these windows on the back of the building too that we would like looked at, we can actually create an additional work opportunity to be able to capture those for any future technicians. So very useful for anybody on your sales team or anything like that, so that we don't miss any of those additional opportunities while we are out in the field. So while we're creating these, we'll select a service ticket, an appointment that was actually related to, and maybe I need to call Bob at said phone number. One of our recent additions, we can actually add attachments to that additional work order as well. So if I need to take a picture of the back of that building or those additional windows I need to install, I can do that right from here. We do also have the ability on any of those existing work orders to add attachments as well as mark them up if we need to right from the field. And any pictures or documents that we take will be automatically attached to that particular service call. So from here, we can also view any of those time entries until they have been submitted to our time track application and been approved for payment through payroll. We can view any of those transactions as well as run reports, either for myself or if I'm a crew chief, for all of the employees listed underneath myself. I'll cancel that. So then lastly, we have the ability to create invoices from the field for any maybe cash customers or residential customers for the work that has been completed. So this will pull in all of the labor materials that we have added from the call and invoice the customer, and then we can also collect payment directly from the field. And that includes a cash payment, a credit card payment, or even a check payment. And they'll be reflected immediately within GP. So kind of to wrap up here, some of the setup options that are available within MobileTech. The first is our auto syncing. So if you're in a service area where you get great connectivity all the time, you're always going to have good service, we can set that to automatically update on a schedule. So we'll pull in and sync with the back-end database, maybe on a 5-minute schedule, 10-minute schedule, and this is actually done by seconds. So my 600 here will be every 5 minutes. Now if you're in a remote area that doesn't often happen, we can set that to never and have the technician manually update that when they actually need to. So we are a store and forward technology. So if any of your customers are in a not great service area, they can do all of the work that they need to on the service tickets, completing them, adding any pictures offline. And when they do get to a better connectivity area, or maybe we want to do it over Wi-Fi because we have some really big pictures, we can sync up at that time. The other feature I wanted to mention here is the max image size. With our smartphones today, we can get some very big pictures, really high resolution, and they can generate some really big pictures. So we can actually set the max image size that's going to be synced up to the database. So here again, if we're not in a great service area, using that smaller picture size will greatly reduce the amount of data that has to be transferred back and forth from the mobile device. So finally from here, we also have the ability to create a new service call. The little truck that I just clicked on, any customers that I have the ability to, I can create a brand new service call. So if I completed this one for this customer, but they want me to come back out tomorrow for a different item, we can select that customer and location and create a brand new service call and start this whole process over again. So now that we have completed any of these calls, these will be automatically updated on our graphical schedule board. So right here I can view that appointment that I just completed, and based on my setup I have that marked by a deep blue color to indicate when they are completed. So while we can move any of the existing appointments around if I need to move it to a different technician or on a different day, these completed appointments, if I try and move it, will remain locked. So we can actually do any historical reporting, what technicians were where on which date, from there based on that, on those completed appointments that do stay here. This will also automatically adjust for any time difference. If we estimated 2 hours for this technician, maybe they completed it in an hour, it will change the size of that appointment. So dispatchers know when we can dispatch a new call to that technician if they got done early. So finally, coming back to GP, we're going to be able to see all of the information that we just entered, any resolutions within the main GP database. And there's a real-time sync, so we'll be able to view that right away. 2.8 will open up directly within GP if we have that installed. So now we have completed that service ticket. We can view any of the resolution notes that I put in upon completing that ticket, as well as any attachments that I added from the field. So my call summary reports, any pictures that I may have added will be immediately available right here on that call. So looking at one of those call summary reports, this is that same information that we could view from MobileTech, just in a nice SRS format. So we'll list any of the equipment that I worked on, any of the tasks that I did, as well as inventory, labor, and any material on that particular appointment. The other thing we'll be able to view, and I'll pick on another call summary report here, is any signatures. So when you actually go to bill our customer here, any of the signatures that we did capture from the field will be applied to that PDF document right from there. So I mentioned that these will also automatically be emailed to the technician and anybody else that we want to. So you can define what the subject line of that appointment or what that call summary report will actually look like. I'm going to show you an example here from my email. So I have the call number as well as the appointment. So if I have multiple appointments on here, I can differentiate between those individual appointments. And this will be the same report that is also attached to the call. I can open that up right from my email as well as email to my customer. Okay, so also available within GP, any inventory or purchase orders that I entered from the field will be available in a number of different queues. So my mobile inventory inquiry here, I can view any inventory that I maybe took off my truck and wanted to assign that call and process and finish that inventory transaction right from here, as well as any purchase orders or additional work for my sales team. So I'll go ahead and close GP there. So that's kind of the life cycle of a work order within GP. The new calls can be created within GP. I showed where we can view it within MobileTech. We can also do that from our graphical schedule board right here. So there are a number of different ways that we can maintain, create new calls, add notes and attachments as we need to, depending on what your individual use case may be and where you would like to be able to enter that from. So that's kind of the bulk of my demonstration today. Have Diane talk about a little bit about some of our new features which will expand the capability of our MobileTech and scheduling solutions.
So, building upon the core functionality of the Key2Act software, service management, job costs, equipment management, we have a number of new initiatives that have either already been introduced and are being used, or are in beta testing, or are on the roadmap. Michael mentioned from the mobile devices the C application. So C is really a telepresence feature that enables customers and their technicians to view safety glasses that actually have cameras and microphones built in. So you can capture images, videos, you can do collaboration with C. We've got a number of customers that have been using C for over a year. I think the number of users on C is probably about 400 or 500 at this point. So it's very readily been adapted within the marketplace. We also have an application called Clock, which is designed to enable time entry from mobile devices, and it flows seamlessly back into our time track application and through GP Payroll if you're using GP Payroll. And Clock is really designed for mobile devices, as opposed to MobileTech, where you get all the customer information. If you have somebody who just needs to enter time and expenses, Clock will be the application for them. We also have an application called Know, which builds upon the business intelligence applications, and we've created templates, if you will, for the reports that are available through BI for both job cost and service management. Those are available now. We're also looking at an application called Form, which would enable you to fill out forms from a mobile device, web-based application. We have, on the roadmap, we have a product called Look, which will enable, it'll be like a customer portal where customers can get in, look at information on services, products, service tickets, maintenance contracts, etc. We also have Schedule, which will be kind of a more advanced version of graphical schedule board, including some additional features and functionality, and it will be web-based.
Thank you very much, Diane and Michael. That was great to see the mobile applications. As a next step, if you're an existing Endeavour client, talk to your Endeavour consultant or reach out to Trish Fortin, our customer relationship manager. Alternately, you can also reach out to Steve Ewing. His information is throughout our website, and we have it here. The MobileTech software is a fantastic option for those that are on GP, and we can help you evaluate the right components of the Key2Act software suite to complement your current investments, as well as look at other field service automation capabilities within GP and other products. Look forward to hearing from those on the line, and have a wonderful day.